What's your story? What's your sign? It's like we're twin flames in a different life.
Well, hello and welcome to part 2 of A Feeler. We're talking all about being a feeler, what a feeler is, if that's a real thing. Hopefully we established that in part 1, but this is the intro for part 2. This ended up being a kind of a little mini series, and let me know after listening to this part 2 if you want more information and if you have specific questions for me about being a feeler. I had my daughter Ariana listen to part of it and she was just like, there's still so much more. You barely scratched the surface. And that's how I was feeling too. And she was saying, as a feeler herself, as a teenager navigating this world, this was really helpful for me, Mama, to just have someone break it down that way, because no one talks about it. And yet we're experiencing it. She said she has a lot of friends that this really resonates with them and they wanted more information. So I probably will be doing a part 3, maybe even a part 4 of this. But if you have specific questions that you want me to cover, would you go ahead and would you message me, email me, or comment in the comment section below if you're watching this on YouTube? And you can let me know specific questions that you have regarding being a feeler, raising feelers, and all of that. In like part 4, I might try to share my story and my journey of discovering I was a feeler and my healing journey to getting there, because I just feel that's really helpful and important. Stories are powerful. And when we share our stories, it lets other people know they're not alone. And that is one of the biggest reasons I wanted to start this podcast, was for people like you, like me, to know we're not alone. What you have been through, there's value to that. You have a story to tell, and your story is powerful and it can help people. Without further ado, let's get into part 2 of A Feeler.
What's your story?
How to know if I am a feeler or if I have this gift. All of the above apply. And you have been nodding along with me or had an aha moment of revelation as I have been talking today. And you're just like, oh, that resonates. That's me. You holler in the back, raising your hand. You're going, that is me. Another way would be to ask yourself, take a moment and ask yourself if you are a feeler or if you have this gift. Your body will tell you if this is true. It will tell you by how it responds and feels, and your brain will agree. This is amazing. I can't medically, scientifically, completely explain this to you, and there's definitely not enough time on this podcast to do that. But that is how you can do it. Your body will tell you and your mind will agree. It's amazing. So just take a second and you can ask yourself, are you a feeler? And almost like a really, really small, tiny voice you might hear inside of you is going to scream, yes, that's me. It's just a good practice in general to stop and ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What's actually going on? And to tell yourself, you're safe, you're okay. So what's going on? What are you picking up on? And now I'm not saying walk into the grocery store and like stop in the middle of the aisle, put your hand on your heart and start talking to yourself out loud, because then they might say you're certifiable. But you get the point. And you can do this in the comfort of your own home or in your car right now as you're driving and listening to this. Get really in tune and in touch with you and with what's going on with you. And the more aware that you are, then the better you're going to be able to steward this and to use this as a gift. You are made in the image of God. And this is a part of God's nature. This is a part then of yours and mine if it is a part of God's nature. Because if you believe you were made in the image of God, then his nature is within you. So that kind of basically ahead of time answers that question of, is everyone then a feeler? And I believe, well, I'll tell you at the end. Let's talk about the most common misconceptions about feelers. All right. And maybe you've thought this about yourself, or maybe you were raised where this was like a thing, like a negative thing, and it was put into this context of where it was negative. Maybe this has actually been a little harder for you to listen to because of that. So common misconceptions would be only emotional people are feelers. You have to be dramatic or emotional to have this gift. That's a lie. It's not a gift, but actually it's a curse. Again, that's a lie. Feelers can't listen to reason or don't know how to think logically. Ooh, this is a good one. This is a good one because I think at one point or another, every feeler has had this said to them. And probably you now say it to yourself that you can't think logically because, or you're not good at thinking because you're so emotional and you have all these feelings, right? So that's a lie. We're just going to squash that one. Just going to like step on it. Another one. This is another good one. Only women are feelers. Have you heard that one? You're a guy and you're like, I recognize a lot of this. I'm identifying with a lot of this that you're saying and it's resonating, but I thought only women were feelers, only girls. That's a girl thing. Again, it's a lie. Okay, we're going to squash that one too. My son Patrick, he's a great example of this. He is a feeler and he feels so many things. And then he has society and school and friends, right? Boys today. And they all want to like squash that. And they want to say, oh, don't be girly or don't have feelings or don't want to. And then I think he's even like tried to hide that part of himself, but he has me as his mama. So I'm like, hey, baby boy, you're a feeler. And it's a superpower. It's nothing to be ashamed of. We will talk about that. And we'll talk about the terminology and the way that I will talk to him about it definitely looks different and sounds different than how I'll talk to my girls about it. Because I've noticed too, by nature, girls are just more self-aware than guys. And that's not by any like fault of your own if you are a guy. In fact, every part of society tells you that you should, suck it up and brush it off, dust it off. Don't let that affect you, whatever. So if you are a guy and you're like, yeah, I actually think I am a feeler, like start that journey of discovering that and start testing it out. And I'm going to give you a couple of really good little exercises and tools that you can use. What it looks like to be healed and healthy with this gift, as well as a good little exercise that you can do that will help you. It will help everybody just in general be more compassionate and empathetic, but it will really help you if you're a feeler. You can help someone by listening, by being a listening ear and a safe space, but not taking it upon yourself to solve their problems or fix their issues, or by being their savior. So do not fall into that trap of the savior complex where you think you have to be everyone's savior because you can feel it. It's as though you've gone through it. And now you're just going to tell them in all your wisdom and experience, you're going to tell them exactly what they need to do, and then you're going to solve it. You're going to solve it for them. All right. That's not your job as a feeler. And that is not being a healthy feeler. Trust me, I have tried that. It doesn't end well. And anyone who has tried it knows it doesn't end well. A healthy way to approach this would be being a listening ear in a safe space, but then you don't take it on. All right. You literally, and I will like sometimes do this if it was like a lot. I'm like, whew, that was a lot. I will like dust myself off, like top of my shoulder. And I'll like do it to remind myself, like, this isn't mine. I don't carry this. The gift is in being someone who can listen, who can empathize with them, who can have compassion on them, who can remind them that they're human and it's okay that they're feeling these things and like what they're going through. But then you have to dust it off yourself because you cannot carry that. You're not meant to carry that weight. If you picked up the weight of every single person in your life, you're going to drown. This is why some feelers end up with autoimmune issues and IBS and depression, because it's just so much. It's way too much for you, and you're not meant to carry that. So let me remind you of that to unburden yourself. And again, the way that I do it is I take it to the Lord and I give it to Him and I lay it at His feet. And I'm like, your kid, your stuff, there you go. I don't know what to do or how to solve this. And I leave it there because I have to. That's the only way you can be healthy and you can help people and you can continue on to the next one, is if you don't pick up all that stuff and carry it or internalize it or not know how to process it and just get burdened down with it. This is an exercise that I have done many times and I believe will be very helpful for you or anyone who is a feeler, or even just you want to be a good listener, you want to be empathetic, you want to be compassionate, then this is a great, great exercise. As the person is talking to you, I want you to close your eyes right now. If you're driving, do not close your eyes. Please keep them open. Do not close your eyes. Okay. So you're going to close your eyes unless you're driving, and you're going to imagine as the person is speaking to you that it is a very heavy backpack they have been carrying around for decades. You are going to reach over and you're going to help them take that backpack off their back. And as they're talking to you, they're going to tell you about the things maybe they're in the backpack. Maybe they're not going to tell you about the things in the backpack, but you can listen and you can notice how you're feeling and notice how they're feeling in this moment and separate the two. Okay? And as you help them take off the backpack, you're going to notice that there's like deep grooves and indentations in their shoulders from where the straps were so heavy that it's just weighed them down. And there's blisters, some that have like popped and created scars, or it's just rubbed raw on their back. And you're going to notice that. And you're just going to you're going to feel that with them. And you're going to tell them that this is so heavy and has been so hard that they have been going through. And then you're going to leave that backpack on the floor. Remember, you took it off their back. You noticed all the damage it had done, how heavy it was. And you're going to leave it there. I imagine I'm like on a grassy hill and I'm leaving that backpack there because it's like loaded down with rocks. So you're leaving it there. It's so heavy. And then you get to watch them walk away, not burdened, skipping and leaping and frolicking in the flowers and grass and whatever, but whatever's that picture in your head. But you leave that backpack there, okay? That is how feelings, lots and lots of them, and being a feeler, that is a healthy way to be a feeler. It is a beneficial way. It's a way to use it as a superpower. And it's a great exercise that anybody at any age can practice. And you're going to practice this until it becomes second nature and you don't even ever think about picking up that backpack. Because what a lot of you have been doing is you've been picking up that backpack and putting it on your own shoulders with your own backpack. And then your mom's backpack, and then your friend's backpack, and then your spouse's backpack, and then your coworker's backpack. You get the point. You've been doing that over and over and over again, and you are so heavily burdened. So you need to take that off, all of it. You might have to sit and do this exercise and actually take off all the backpacks from all the people through the years that you have been picking up and carrying, because your shoulders aren't meant to carry all those other backpacks. They're not. And it's not helping you, and it's not helping them. That's where the savior complex comes in, and being self-aware and going, do I have a savior complex? I just might. Do I want to solve everybody's problems and save the day? Yeah. Okay. That's okay. I know that's with the best of intentions. All right. Another really good tool for you is to have boundaries and establish boundaries as a feeler. This is really important to be a healthy feeler, or just a healthy person in general. Boundaries are great. If you notice that a person doesn't respect the boundaries that you have established, you need to not make yourself available to that person in the future. I'm not saying you cut that person out of your life. What I'm saying is you don't sit there with them and help them take off their backpack of emotions. You don't make yourself available to be that listening ear and safe space. Because, as we know, a person who is drowning will bring down another person that's trying to save their life. So someone who's not respecting the boundaries that you have established is not a safe person. And they're not a person that you should continuously then be making yourself available to. And I know I wish I had more time to go over all of these things as far as, we're going to be kind and loving and all of that. But really, honestly, if you're a feeler, you probably don't have good boundaries. You need to have good boundaries. Get a book on boundaries and read about that, because that'll be really awesome. And then the last thing I'm going to say is, do not use this gift as a weapon or a tool against someone, or to find out their biggest insecurities or failures. So in the beginning, we talked about how you're going to use this gift for good and not for evil, right? So this would be a way that you would use it for evil, would be to use it against them, or to use it to try to gather intel or information. That would be a way you wouldn't be having good boundaries towards another person. Also, nobody wants you standing around and looking at their dirty laundry. Have respect for the gift and have respect for the person. And don't have this gift turn into a tool that you use because you're like, ooh, this is this really cool superpower that I have, and I'm going to get all this dirt on these people that I don't like. Okay. Don't go down that path. Avoid it altogether. Red flag, red flag. All right. So how to use it as a superpower. Be a good listener. Be a safe space for someone to share. Feelers make amazing listeners. And that is so true. They really do. when you sense something is going on with someone beyond what they show to the world, you can pray for their heart to be comforted and healed in the area that you're sensing, but don't really go beyond that. If they haven't chosen to share something with you, don't like poke and prod, or don't just go on what you're sensing and like, yeah, you need to let them, they need to be able to feel safe with you and to choose to share that with you. When you sense something is going on with someone, just, for me, I mean, that's my go-to. I'm just going to pray for them. I'm just going to pray for their heart and whatever's going on. And I usually won't press in more unless they choose to come to me and talk to me, because I don't want to, again, start poking around in their business when they haven't invited me and they don't want me in there. Just because I can doesn't mean that I should. Okay, you guys get the point. Sometimes a feeler will get a dream about someone else, and in the dream, you will feel what the other person is feeling. Okay, this is actually super common. Normally, when you dream, I'm a big dreamer and I love dreams. But normally, when you dream, your dreams are going to be about you. They're talking about you. But, this is a big but, when you are a feeler, and if you have been kind of not paying attention during waking life to what's going on, sometimes you'll get a message when you're having a dream. And the dream will let you know how that other person is feeling. Okay. So this is in order for you to have compassion towards them, or to see a situation or the person from their perspective. It'll usually offer you information that you didn't know, and just an overall sense of what's actually going on. Let's say you're in the middle of a business deal or something, and the person is actually corrupt. You could have a dream where in the dream, you might even be that person in the dream and be doing the corrupt things that they're doing, possibly. Or it could be in the dream, you know they are corrupt. So then that would be for you to know not to enter into business with that person. The flip side would be, let's say you're in an argument with a family member and you can't possibly see from their perspective, but they've gone through something that they're not ready to tell the world or the family yet. And then you have a dream about them and you see that situation, or you can feel that and sense that, then that would be for you to have compassion on them, to maybe offer like your gift for you to be able to sit with them and say, I just want you to know I'm on your side and I love you. And if you ever want to talk, I'm here. And you make yourself available. The other way that this is a superpower is you can read people's minds without knowing the details, or more of a read their feelings and sense and know what is going on without words even being spoken. That's pretty cool. Being a feeler is knowing more than we think we know, but you have to believe it, because there's more to life than just chance encounters. That's a quote from Faith, but it's so good and it's so true that being a feeler is knowing more than we think we know, but you have to believe it. And that comes through practice and trial and error and over time and maturity. That comes from a place of believing that things are more divine than just chance encounters with people. Hopefully, you have a way better understanding of what is a feeler, and if you are a feeler, and how to use that for good and not for evil, and to see it as a superpower, and to have some practical tools and insights and an exercise that you can use that will help you as you learn to navigate and steward this gift. Another practical tool that you can do is, as you're developing out of a place of love and respect. As you're developing good, healthy relationships with people, you can check in with them on what you're feeling or sensing. And so, kind of what that would look like is with certain people, this is what I can do because I have an established relationship there. And I'll say, I'm sensing that you're feeling really, and you could fill in the blank, but let's just say sad. And am I right in sensing that? And is that something that you would want to talk about? I'm telling them, giving them a little bit of information on what I'm sensing because I love them and care about them. And then I'm giving them the opportunity to say, yes, this is something I do want to talk about, or no, I do not want to talk about this right now. Then I'm going to respect that boundary that they have just put there and walk away. I mean, not really walk away, but like leave it be. Okay. Don't go, really? Are you sure? I can really tell that you're like really bummed out. And I think it has something to do with your dad and da da da. Like, don't do that. That's toxic, not helpful. But that is a good way that you can learn more about how you sense and your accuracy, as well as a really healthy way that you can offer to be a listening ear for someone. And it's a really great example of what a healthy feeler will walk out and what it looks like. Yeah, in any event, at that point, it's none of my business. It's none of your business. If they want to shut down, not talk about it, it's none of your business. And leave it alone, okay? It's their business. Hopefully, you have got some insight, some aha moments, some revelation, and you're like, wow, that was so helpful. Or maybe even it made you want to learn more. Then please go ahead and send me a comment. If you're watching YouTube, comment below with some questions that you have, and I will get back to you. If you're not watching YouTube and you're on a podcast, then you can go to my website and you can shoot me an email. You can message me. You can be like, I'm super interested in this topic. Or Anastasia, I wasn't at all interested in that topic, but I am interested in this topic. Could you talk about it? And I would love to talk about that. Most likely I'll love to talk about it. And we could talk about it. So I'm going to leave you with a final quote because I promised to be a little cheesy. And I don't know his name. I don't remember, but I just call him Grandpa Parker because he was Peter Parker's grandpa. But he says, with great power comes great responsibility. So remember that. Being a feeler is a superpower. And there are big responsibilities that come with that superpower. But also it's a beautiful gift. And you need to steward it. You need to learn about it. You need to grow in it, mature in it, because the world needs feelers. Our generation needs feelers. Raise feelers. Raise them up to know. Because how amazing is it going to be when we see the next generation coming up and what was our ceiling becomes their floor. Like, that is profound. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Make sure that you like, subscribe, ring the bell, add the notification, all the things so that you can follow along for more. And until next time, this was Anastasia with the Bold and Unafraid podcast. All right.
What's your story? What's your sign? It's like we're twin flames in a different life. Deep connection lights a spark. It's like you know me in the depths of my heart. We're dreamers. Don't care what other people say. We live it like this could be a fun day. We're dreamers. Don't care what they
That's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed part 2 of all about being a feeler, and you understand a little bit more about the feeler gift, the superpower that it is, and hopefully you understand a little bit more about yourself and you have some good practical tools and exercises that you can use and you can help those in your life use, the other feelers in your life that you know of. And I just really hope that that was something that assisted you and brought a lot of clarity and revelation and encouragement to you. But like I said at the beginning of this, I feel like this needs to be a 4-part series. So if you have any questions, please message me, email me, comment below if you're on YouTube, comment below and let me know some of the questions that you have regarding the feeler gift. And I will be sure to include those in the next part of this series. Until then, guys, thanks for tuning in and can't wait to see you on the next podcast.
What's your story?